Hello. How great. This is my first ACITA meeting. I feel very nervous. But yeah, so thank you very much for the invitation. What a pleasure it is to see you all here live, not through a little screen. Getting quite nervous, actually. Interesting. So, that was what an interesting presentation that was. You've seen me take lots of pictures. So I have to reflect on all of this because this is all the solution. And of course, the question that I will have for your panel discussion later that ties into directly with this is, do we still need customs declarations in the first place? Because think about it, if all is on a secure ledger and provided that the data at the entry is correct, so the farmer in Malaysia actually gives the good certificate of origin data, and it's all secure, and it's all on ledger, and you can't move it, and it is trusted, then what do you need me to put it in for? Just get rid of the customs declaration. Now that would be cool. And that would do away with all of my presentation. So therefore, why don't we put that into the future for now? Instead, now, this is really odd. This to put me before HMRC, because HMRC is supposed to tell us how they're going to get ready for CDS so that I can then dissect it. So we're going to do this the other way around. And that's okay. Don't worry, it's going to be fine. But we've got to make ourselves honest at some point, don't we? And that point has to be now, because autumn is around the corner. If you're not prepared for CDS now, then how will you prepare over the next 2 months while you are on a beach somewhere in Sicily? It's not possible, is it? And more importantly, are you discussing with your freight agents? Are you discussing with your clearance agents? Are you discussing with your tech providers day in, day out about CDS readiness? Because it's no good one part of the chain being ready. Everybody has to be ready, correct? Because no good my software provider telling me I'm ready when I don't have the data needed to put into CDS in the first place. It's got to be clued up. We got to start talking. We got to start talking before everybody leaves for the summer break. So we've got to make ourselves honest and ask the uncomfortable question, and there's only one that the government needs to hear loud and clear. Because like we saw in April, it is never impossible to pull the plug 5 to 12. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the government needs to have the answer to this question honestly and loudly. How ready are we, really? So let's make a poll and find out how ready we all are. Yes? So HMRC staff, turn around, look at the people. So here is your option. Let me click. You now have 1, 2, 3, or 4 to choose from. You are answering the question, how ready are you for CDS? And if you are a consultant or an expert or whatnot, then you have clients, and you will lump them all together, and from that form an opinion. Yes? So if you're choosing the option 1, your company is not ready for CDS, that's okay, we're still not there yet. Not aware of CDS or early stages of preparation. So you get the, when you talk about CDS to your clients, you get the questions like, what's CDS? Can I eat that? The next level, number 2, is my broker said we are ready. So this is your broker, your customs agent coming and saying to the question, are you ready? Because you're filing the declarations for us. And they say, yes, full stop. No explanation, no details, just yes, we're ready. And you take that for truth. So that would be 2. You have a written confirmation. 3, my business, importing, exporting business, is ready for CDS. That means you have completed the HMRC checklist online, broker's assurance that CDS is ready, and 4 is you're a CDS pro. That means you can discuss with me about the intrinsic details of how CDS changes into chief. You can talk to me about data elements, and you even know what DE means besides Germany, right? So you can successfully lodge customs declarations on CDS. It means you could pull out a copy of what you have submitted in CDS and actually show me the secret data marked black, of course. So with that, 1 to 4. Are you ready? Right. Who's, honestly now, who's 1? Hands up. Thank you for being honest. 2. My broker said we're ready. Yeah. Yeah, there's some 2s and 3s in there. Let's see where we're going. 3. Are you? Can you actually take note how many we have? Let's do this. My company is not ready. Go ahead. Once, or Kevin may do this. How many? Count. Don't say it loud, because, or you may. 2. Well, actually, we might want to know how many we have. So, yeah, 3. Oh, that is good news. Happy summer. 4. We will meet at coffee later, won't we? All right. How did you get that? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4? Got it, yeah? Yeah. All right. We need that number for later. Okay. So now everybody who did 4 and 3, especially 3, there were quite a few. That's good news. Let's have a reflection on this. So do you remember, besides this very, very good campaign of HMRC on how to get ready, which started a long time ago, April. Actually, I was in training on CDS with HMRC, 5 weeks of grueling training last year. And now the campaign pack has come out. Now we have a really good campaign. And that should give us confidence to be ready at the end of, what is it, September, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Now, do you remember a couple of years ago, we had another campaign that was supposed to get us ready. And, you know, I was going to reflect on the effectiveness of these campaigns. And this is no criticism. This is just to make sure we have the right understanding of CDS and what kind of change it actually is. So I am reminded of the campaign, and I know there were many objectives to the campaign, you know, to not overburden people, but how do you get ready for Brexit? Well, this guidance said this. So here is what you need to do to get ready for Brexit. Now read this with 6 years after our referendum. So what we were to do to get ready for Brexit is get an EORI number and check how imports from and exports to the EU will be impacted, including tariffs, taxes, and transportation of goods. That's it. Does that sound reflective of good preparation? Well, you say, Arne, that is pushing it, right? You are seriously now simplifying it to a ridiculous degree. Well, you are right. Let's be honest. Let's click on what it means to prepare for export to the EU. So if you just see this, of course you think you're going to be ready once you have acquired your EORI number for Brexit. But then you do actually click there, and then you see all of these guides. Okay? And then you realize, well, maybe it wasn't just the EORI number I needed. Well, and that would be for importing and exporting. And then you can click on, let's say, the first one. And then you click on the first one, and then, oh, wait, oh dear. And then you have importing on the left and exporting on the right, and importing has 11 parts on our step-by-step guide. And exporting has 8 parts. And this drops down into more guidance. So what started off as a simple page that gave you the impression of being ready, if you deep dive into it, actually looks a little different. And layer by layer, we uncover that being Brexit ready can't be put on one page. And the result of that you think you're ready but you're not really, is of course this guy. Yes, do you remember that news article? I use it all the time in my training when I deal with SPS goods. And look, the key message here is the firm had taken these steps ahead of time and felt ready to go on day one. But the day-to-day reality is different. So what I'm saying to you, I guess, is let's learn from the past and make sure we're really, really ready. And that means probably digging a little bit deeper when people tell you we are ready. And, of course, when we're ready, this doesn't only affect smaller businesses. Bigger businesses can get it wrong too. They really shouldn't. They really, really shouldn't. But it does happen. And if enough system-critical businesses think they're ready, and they're not really ready, because they were told they're ready, then we're going to have a very warm autumn. And the reason I make sounds like this is because in the back of my mind is this. And I heard that at a recent meeting. Strange, right? Because in this room, there are so many people that say we're ready. Why is that? Why do we get a comment like that? So, with that being said, let's look at the communication pack. Let's look at what we need to do to be CDS ready. And remember, while some say this, others say, you're completely exaggerating, Arne, because it's not that different. It's just a customs declaration in a different form. And besides, make yourselves honest again. You've all read the Union Customs Code Annex B, which has 300 pages of these requirements that we're about to implement in the UK. The data model of the Union Customs Code is CDS. So that we could have read already 5 years ago. Anyway, so this is what we're supposed to do to be ready. This is our checklist. Number 1, register for a government gateway account. Does anybody not in this room have not got a government gateway account? Exactly. 2, apply for an AORI number. Does anybody in this room have no AORI number? Exactly. 3, have you all registered for the CDS service? Yes. 4. Oh, 4? Oh, 4, yes. Choose the payment method. If you've chosen your payment method, whether you're going to go for cash accounts. I think that's really cool because we might not need a deferment account anymore. You can just put money on your account and just, I think that's really cool actually. But never mind. What, have you done that? Have you decided whether you want to immediately pay, deal with a guarantee? That's a money thing. And 5, instruct your customs broker and agent. That is all you have to do to prepare for CDS. Does that sound too difficult? No. Of course you are ready for CDS because that's all you have to do. Otherwise it would tell you, would it? The only question is, how are you going to instruct your broker and agent? Wouldn't you need to know what to tell them? For example, clear my goods. Really? Is that what we're going to tell them? Or do we need to tell them more, like what's the commodity code? What do I put in what box? Do I have the licenses? Etc., etc. So while this looks all straightforward, we could all now raise our hands and say we're prepared. I think it would be quite problematic, I won't say dangerous, but problematic to assume that that makes us ready for CDS. Because that will allow you to instruct your broker with nothing meaningful, I think. And more importantly, when you do this, you won't know what they're actually doing. You won't be able to engage in a meaningful discussion with them. Because they, I'm sorry, I'm not having a go at brokers. I love freight agents. They're really my friends, absolutely. But we got to bring ourselves to a situation where importers and exporters can competently discuss CDS with freight agents and with customs clearance agents. Because after all, they are the extended arm of the importing and exporting business. And at the moment, agents know CDS, importers and exporters don't. So there is no genuine conversation that would work, that would give you any assurance that A, the freight agent's ready, and B, that they're going to lodge it in the way that you tell them to. So, all of that to say, we need to rethink broker management when we talk about CDS. How will you competently assess the readiness of your agent, of your partners for CDS beyond the words yes? I believe we need all of these 6 things to competently say, yes, you are a trusted partner. And Ian will know this because I've worked with Ian so closely on precisely this. Actually, part of this is all Ian. Never mind. Data needs to be complete, correct, and timely every time. How do you make sure? Documents need to be available. SOPs and KPIs need to be set. Transparency. Are we doing consistent exchange with our extended trade partner, our brokers, our freight agents, and our customs clearance agents? Are we talking regularly about what went wrong last month and why this document was missing? That is part of CDS preparation too. Communication. Are we talking the same language? Or is your freight agent, the person that's lodging the declaration, speaking a different language to you? If that is so, we need to come together again. And of course, audit. How will you audit something unless you know deeply what it is about? That is part of CDS readiness. So, when you get compliance assurances that say we are ready, is it fair to say, well, that's all good, but is that lip service? You are ready because of what? How can you show me that you are really ready? That's what I would make if I'd ask the question how to get ready for CDS. Is it lip service? Is there substance behind what your agents are telling you? And is there scope creep? Sometimes I hear this. I go to a clearance agent on behalf of a client and I say, can you take your declaration that you've lodged? Here is my invoice. Can you try to match that, please? Because I can't. I spent hours trying to figure out how on earth you got from this invoice to that declaration. And surely you ought to explain me the logic in a way that I can understand. Because if I can't understand, how will HMRC ever understand? They won't take the time even. That is CDS readiness, not receiving a CDS document that says, here's your declaration. So, and if you challenge freight agents like this is the answer you get. Assisting you with compliance control is outside the scope of our services unless you pay more. I will lodge the thing, but I'll not tell you how I did it. And I certainly won't make you understand how it works. How can you check that these guys are CDS ready? After all, with direct representation, it's your business that's on the hook, not theirs. And when you take on me as a client and you lodge declarations on my behalf, the compliance piece comes with it, please. You will explain to me how this invoice turns into that customs declaration. Or else you're not the right fit. And you know what? I'm not going to pay you more for it because that's mandatorily required. That means being CDS ready. So, and I'm going to come to an end, I promise. I don't even know where I am time-wise, but it's super interesting, I think. So in the CDS environment, this is what we need to do. The real opportunity beyond trader checklists is for us to grow even further. For us to gain the knowledge, to have competent conversations. Yes, to challenge the broker, even if it gets uncomfortable. But for that to be happening, we need to do this. We need to go into training. We need to become CDS geeks. And that does not involve just getting an account, just getting to discussing monetary things or whatnot. This means all of this. Somebody who can tell me about error codes, that's already a good start. If you can talk to me about the error codes you've received and how upset you are about them and how they're difficult to resolve, that's a good start. Then we have a conversation. And only if you do the left can you do the right. And quite honestly, if you did the right, then you are really ready for CDS. And in fact, you are ready for full customs compliance, because then you take control. And being CDS ready doesn't mean following the trader checklist. CDS ready means doing this. Because I don't know if you noticed, but beyond the trader checklist, like in the Brexit model, if you click, 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 you'll get to this. And if you can get excited about this, then you are CDS ready. And I will leave you with just a bit of a geeky preview of what I would expect someone to know when they're CDS ready. And this is even though you have an agent who does it for you. Even though you don't ever lodge a customs declaration. Even though you are a consultant. You still need to know this. How else will you talk competently with stakeholders about the biggest shakeup in customs declarations ever? You need to know about these groups. What does Group 6 stand for? Please look. Now repeat. What is Group 5? 4, 3. Don't know? Learn. You must know, because your boxes change to these data elements, and for that you need to know what the groups are. And once you know what the groups are, you need to know and understand this logic, that you need to first set the declaration category data set. If you don't set that, you're going to be in big trouble. Confuse H1 with I1 and it's finished for you. It's over. Then you must understand what are the mandatory data elements, and you as an importer-exporter must understand this, because if there is a new data element that you haven't thought of, so you supply the broker with the current data elements, because there are more data elements, or box information, because there are more data elements in CDS now. If you forgot that this is a mandatory data element that you don't give them today, well, you better seek this information right now, because from autumn you need to provide it. If you don't have it, or it takes you time to get it, well, then you have a compliance gap and you might not even lodge a declaration correctly, because you know CDS is very rigid. And the computer says more no than anything else. So you need to identify the mandatory data elements, the dependent data elements, and the C data elements as well, the optional data elements. So there are mandatory, optional, and dependent data elements. And the data elements are really problematic, because they could appear anywhere. So unless you worked out what you actually need to provide for the declaration that you want to make, you're not CDS ready, even though you are not even lodging one. You need to get your head around header and item information. Where does the one for GVMS go? Header or item? Answer? Exactly. You need to know. You need to understand Y and X. D, C, Y, X, A, everything, in order to understand where what goes. Because if there is a delay and you ask your agent, why haven't you lodged it? I'm waiting for this stuff. Well, there is data element 325 that was missing that you didn't supply me. Or you realize actually it was lodged at header information when it should have been lodged at the item information. That all will mess everything up. That is CDS ready. Not whether you have decided on what method of payment you want to choose. What goes into each data element. See how I avoid the word boxes? Don't talk to me about boxes. You talk to me about boxes, I will walk away. DE is a beautiful abbreviation, always has been. Yes? Field format. Do you love the word alphanumeric? If you don't, you better. And this is how the whole thing is supposed to look. Now, I've just used the software that I use, which is just one example. And I'm just showing you this. There are many software providers you can use. I just happen to use this one. I just wanted to show you what the principal challenge in addition to all of this is, because what I've just explained to you is the logic of HMRC that you need to understand. What I haven't yet understood and explained to you is how that translates into the software that you're using or that your agent is using. Because the software template that your agent is using, this one, doesn't translate to the data element structure of HMRC very well. As a result, and I will now walk away from the microphone, data element 2.2 is here, data element 4.13 is here, and 8.6 is here. So, as they say in Russia, je ne comprends rien. First, understand this. This is the sad boxes. They are still very sad. Then we have the DE numbers, very good. So you understood that you wanted 32. You now know this is 1.6. You really ought to know this. Then this is the goods number, and you know this is mandatory if you are in H1. If you don't know what that means, not CDS ready. Then find it here, 1.6, wherever that is, once you worked out whether you are at item or whether you are a header, and then put that in, if you remember how it should be in based on the alphanumeric content that you are allowed to put in. Yes? Very good. If you think this is all crazy, then you need to work through the 13 case studies that HMRC has kindly provided. They are awesome because they are very complex, but they guide you box by box what you need to put in there. And that is part of CDS readiness as much as the trader checklist is. So why I understand the need to have a clear message and not to confuse everything, you need to be able to deep dive easily. And this is very difficult to find. Even I had to Google at least 30 seconds to find it. Yes? So this is something you never see unless you attend the town hall meetings with HMRC on the side note. It is one of the most useful ways because it actually gets you to a completely correct lodged CDS declaration without error codes. And speaking of error codes, learn to love the error codes because there will be a lot. And this is the biggest frustration, I tell you. You've spent a lot of time trying to get through these boxes and data elements, and then you get hit with error codes, which just shows you how competent I really am about this. And then it's really difficult to work through the data element, what was it that I just talked about? The error messages, the error codes, although this has gotten better. So, unless you have a trade agent, I'm coming to an end, I promise. Unless you have a freight agent who can talk to you in the way I just did over the last 5 minutes. Y, X, header, item, error codes, data elements, DE, 2, 3, confusion between the software and the data elements, then I would doubt whether they are really CDS ready. If they keep saying we're ready and nothing else, then that's maybe true, but you just don't know. So in the end, what do we want? If you really want to be CDS ready, this is where you are. Buy, supply, meet, pay obligations, be reactive, or maybe that's where you are. Let's not be, you might be here already, so let's not, right? But if you think, well, I could be here, and this is really where you want to be. And if you ensure that you meet the customs obligation every time, then you can buy and supply in confidence. If you leverage all the cost saving with free trade agreements using CDS, then you pay only what's necessary. And if you want to fix the challenges before they become a problem, and every customs professional knows this, you must fix before. Our audit process starts before you lodge the customs declaration. You know that. MSS data, finding stuff on MSS data is very, very bad. It's not bad because you found it, but it's too late. You should have picked it up before. Anyway, different story. So you become proactive. And if we can buy and supply in confidence, pay only what's necessary, and be proactive, then we have really got a big opportunity with CDS. So here's more information if you want it. When you get the slides, you can look at this. And now, it's the final slide. I'm so happy. Let's do this again. How ready are you now for CDS? So we'll go with 4. CDS Pro. Write it down. I think more people now. Oops. I didn't like that. Thought, yeah, got it? My business is CDS ready. Okay, got it?
Yep.
2, my broker said we're ready. Up there as well. And 1, what's CDS?
I'm not scared.
Don't count that. Don't count those. Don't count him. Oh, I think nobody. You can't really. Okay, would you like to reveal? Has anything changed?
Yes.
Go for it. More people already know.
More brokers are ready.
More brokers already.
Business ready is down by 4. And CDS Pro is down massively.
Thank you very much.